I have failed far more times than I've succeeded. Far more. You will never succeed more than you fail. That's not how it works. You know why? Because failure is a wonderful teacher. It's the only way to learn. You have to fail. Failure is a part of the process to becoming successful. I tell people this all the time. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world, he took 946 game-winning shots. 946 times since he was in high school, the ball has been in his hand to take the game-winning shot with no time on the clock. He has only made 146 of those. He has missed over 700 times, but he has made 146. You know what they write about? When he make it. They write about when you make it. So guess what? When you get through failing, all you got to do is make one.
Develop your own compass and trust it. Take risks, dare to fail. Remember, the first person through the wall always gets hurt. You're going to fall down, but the world doesn't care how many times you fall down as long as it's one fewer than the number of times you get back up.
Well, no buzzword gets more attention or is more widely desired than the word success. People are spending hours, months, years in the search for success. The reality is, not all achieve it. Or at least, not all persist long enough to achieve it. Because of one fundamental element of success: failure. All of you have raised your hands. All of you have failed before. I have failed many times before. And that is a fundamental part of success. The question then is, which one is greater? My desire to succeed or my fear to fail? I wish to discuss 3 principles today that, if applied, will impact our lives now and forever. Number 1, don't quit too early. Most obstacles we face are here to test our character, not to stop us. A common excuse that I think all of you will be able to relate to, that we often use is when something goes wrong, is, well, it didn't work out, thus it's just not meant to be. Right? And we usually stop right there. But that's not how life works most of the time. I remember learning a lesson from a professor in California. He said, get in line and stay in line. Don't quit too early. Number 2, there's no such thing as failure. If you learned a lesson and gave your best, you succeeded. Have you thought of that before? Because we usually measure failure or success by the outcome, not by the effort. But if you've given your best, you succeeded. Robert Kiyosaki put it well when he said, sometimes we win, sometimes we learn.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks.
I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far.
You won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots during his career. But he once said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently the next time. So if you get into trouble, that doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to act right. If you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying.
Number 3, the past does not equal the future. Who here has been rejected by a girl or a guy before? And if you don't raise your hands, I'm calling you a liar. A lot of people have not raised their hands. I'm surprised. I'll raise both. Well, all of us have, but the tragedy of this experience is not the experience itself. It's the meaning that we usually take home with us. Because I was rejected then, I'll be rejected again. The past will equal the future. Perfect formula for misery. The past does not equal the future. Tony Robbins, one of the greatest teachers that I know, has taught this principle in a marvelous way. He said, and if you're going to take anything home from my talk, take this principle. The only thing that keeps us from getting what we want is the story we keep telling ourselves about why we can't have it. The only thing that keeps us from getting what we want is the story we keep telling ourselves about why we can't have it. Reality is, now is our reality. We can create our own story. We're all great storytellers. We have a blank page in front of us every day to create a story based on our now truth, not on our past truth.
The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? Here's my second point about failure. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
A lot of people, it's hard to imagine, but you have to learn how to fail. Because I'm going to explain this to you. I had big dreams. A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're gonna have a lot of bad days, a lot of setbacks. So like when I was losing 106 pounds in 3 months, the first 2 months or first 2 weeks, it's like I was gaining weight. I would lose a pound, gain 2. So I was just failing. I kept failing and kept failing and kept failing. So I had to teach myself how to fail right. And what that means is when I fail, I can't spend much time in that fail zone. I have to be able to get up and get after the next day just as fast. Because my goals were to be a Navy SEAL. I don't have time to stay here and feel bad for myself for weeks and months and years because I'll lose that time. So the big thing is know that if you have big goals and big dreams, along the way, failure is going to happen. So how fast do you get up from that? And you got to teach yourself that.